There might be premarital handholding in this one, guys.
There may be. Exactly, yeah. Mari Cromber Weebs, my name is Cole, his name is Mike, his name is Jay. We like anime, and this is episode 133 of AniPro. This week's episode, we're reviewing Kimi ni Todoke. I said it correctly, aka From Me to You. We're doing that after the break. So that should be fun. I think we all watched it, right? We all partaked in viewing it.
Yep.
So that's good. That's appropriate. That's what we need to do. And in spirit of that, I see on our little schedule here, we're supposed to talk about crushes and relationships.
Yeah. We've been trying to have basically like relevant topics to the review. And then Jay suggested this one after dropping a bombshell of a story. And we were like, yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Three nerds talking about their awkward dating histories. That sounds great. Yeah.
Well, before we get into
crushes,
that, though, before we get into that, of course, I do just want to open the floor up. Is there anything you guys just want to get off your chest? You know, Mike, like you're sitting there, you're in your Beetlejuice shirt. Maybe you want to.
Don't drop Beetlejuice shirt as I'm drinking water. Spill it all over my Beetlejuice shirt.
Oh, you said it. Oh, you're not supposed to say it 3 times.
Beetlejuice.
Oh, we're safe. He didn't hear.
We're safe. He's not here.
What's going on with Mike? What's going on with old Mikey? I haven't spoken to you for so long.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like I'm at like the precipice of a little mountain, sort of.
Yeah.
But it's not like the mountain that I was literally on recently, but it's like a mountain of like work where I'm just kind of like, I feel like a lot of stuff has happened and like I've been kind of just grinding for a little bit, getting stuff done.
Yeah.
And I can see that I'm just coming down from the peak now and I'm ready to get into the easy days.
It's valley time.
Nice. The easy days of summer. Yeah.
The easy days of summer.
Valley time. Because valley time is very apt too, Jay, because like I alluded to, I'm not on the tallest mountain yet. The tallest mountain comes in about a month and a half when a baby is born. And then the mountain climbing truly begins, but it's Mount Everest. And
then you're Sisyphus. Then you're pushing that boulder up the hill.
That's right. Yeah.
Forever.
It never ends.
Forever.
It never ends. It's funny though, because you hear all these people. I saw a funny thing. It was I think it was Andy Samberg talking on like a SNL or something like that. No, it wasn't SNL. It was like one of those talk shows. I forget who it was. And he was talking about how like before he had kids, everyone was like, "Oh, it's the best thing. You're gonna love having kids. It's the greatest thing." And the second you have a kid, they're like, "Welcome to hell," and it all just like flips. It's like a trap they get you in. So I'm excited to watch that switch get flipped and experience it for myself.
Yeah, well,
one of my favorite.
I'm sure it'll be a good time.
One of my favorite.
Go ahead, Jay.
Jokes is from a comedian. Have you heard of the comedian Sebastian Maniscalco? No. Okay, he has
I'm
one.
Look up the face. I have a better idea. Sebastian what?
Maniscalco.
Somehow it knew to look that up. Okay.
It's listening.
I typed in SEB and it somehow came up with Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah. Anyway, he's a comedian. And like years ago he did a set where and like during the set he did a joke where he was like all of his friends talk about childbirth and they're always like so hyping it up so much like, "Oh, Sebastian, when you have a kid, it's not about you anymore, it's about them." And he's like, "Why do I want that?"
It's an
interesting point. Yeah.
Well, I think now Mike will have to stop being so god darn selfish. You know?
I know.
It's not about you anymore, Mike.
That's right. I'll have to stop doing everything just for me.
And,
think of other people.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think the real answer is like, I think having a child is incredibly hard. But incredibly hard things in life are generally rewarding when you're done. Like when it gets easier, you look back on them fondly, and that's probably the real answer, right?
It's character building.
Yeah, builds character, puts hair on your chest.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of hairy chests, Cole, what's on your mind?
Oh, you're throwing at me. Hello. Hi. You know what I was doing this morning? For some reason, I get into these moods.
Farming Simulator.
No, not Farming Simulator.
I can tell from the hat.
Be
Drinking?
quiet, Jay. Be quiet, both of you.
And the large piece of straw that you still have in your mouth.
Yeah. No, I got rid of that. No, I was feeling nostalgic this morning, so I was pulling up like 90s commercials from YTV. Just to see if I remember them. Isn't it weird, like, what nostalgia does to you? Like, commercials.
It's a hell of a drug. Yeah.
Like, items that were used to sell me products. And I, for some reason, have a nostalgic feeling about them.
Yeah. You're just you're so desperate for any grasp of nostalgia that even a commercial will do it for you.
Yeah. I'm like, yes, that's it. That's the one.
That's it. I remember the house hippos.
I remember the house hippos. Yeah. I remember the mouse trap and the mice finding that mouse trap with the cheese on it.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know, but it's my cheese. And then the other mouse is like, don't you touch that. That could be dangerous. We should go ask an adult.
And that's not the one I was talking about. I was talking about the actual mousetrap game commercial.
Oh yeah. That one too. That one too. Yeah.
Pop Goes Perfection.
Pop Goes Perfection. Yeah. Oh, with that one where the things shoot out of the guy's chest? That's freaky. That's a freaky one.
That's scary, Jay. That's scary.
Yeah, I don't know. And I guess it's all kind of tying in. Last week, I found this stream on YouTube where they've just been playing Reboot on YouTube for free. So I threw that on for a while too.
Reboot does it for you too, usually.
Reboot's good.
Reboot fan. Did you ever hear about the fan project where they're trying to like remaster Reboot?
No, not specifically. I don't like go out and seek Reboot. It was like the first time I watched it since I was a kid, but
really?
I just remember like, it was like a Saturday night and we'd watch Reboot. It was very, very nostalgic for me. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm in a nostalgia mood. I'm looking back through old eyes at the things that young Cole watched.
A small tear drips from your eye down your cheek.
Small milky tear.
No, nostalgia
out of a cataract eye.
As he clenches his walker even more tightly. Nostalgia is a good thing, though. It lets you reminisce. It's to nice times in your life.
Yeah,
even though it's escapism, really, is what it is. Right?
It is. That's all that it is. It's just and it's universal, right? Everyone feels nostalgic about different things.
Yeah.
Jay, speaking of hairy chests, what's on your mind?
I've never seen
that. Is a
Jay's
good
chest, actually. I don't even
question. I was watching a YouTube video yesterday, and
I approve.
It made me sad. So this guy was talking about shiny hunting in Pokemon.
Oh, okay. I was sorry. I forgot like what shiny hunting was. I'm like. Like what? He's nighttime fishing with a light, but he's doing it hunting.
No.
Like he's got a light.
He's like a
but
cat.
He's hunting shiny Pokemon.
He's hunting shiny Pokemon, and he's detailing like how to hunt for shiny Manaphy's in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and it requires you to like send over an egg from Pokemon Ranger, save before you hatch it, and then if it doesn't turn out to be shiny, don't save after you hatch it, restart, and then trade it to a new version of Diamond and Pearl, hatch it there, and just keep rinse repeating until you find the game that has the shiny Manaphy.
Good old fashioned Pokemon. Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why play the game when you can make it as monotonous as possible?
Yeah. Shiny hunters just first of all, it's like perfect for streaming because it's just gambling.
Mm-hmm.
And then second of all, it's like so repetitive that you don't even have to think about it while you're doing it.
Yeah.
You can talk through it.
Yeah.
It's basically what we're doing right now. Just imagine what we're doing right now, but there's shiny hunting.
It's like Subway Surfer.
Yeah. It honestly is like the predecessor to Subway Surfer. That's a good take, Jay.
Mindless. You can just throw it up on the screen at any time you want, and it'll distract whoever from whatever's going on.
You know what the goal is too? It's easy to understand. Yeah, I'm into that.
The thing that made me upset is when I said that you have to get it from Pokemon Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
I had the first Pokemon Ranger for like, I got it on launch, and I traded it in like a couple weeks ago.
Whoa.
And I never got my Manaphy egg.
Oh no.
So that Manaphy egg is you only get one per cartridge.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you get it in one save file, even if you reset, you can't get it again.
So some lucky person out there is going to get this copy of Pokemon Ranger, unadulterated by Jay's young grubby little fingers.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to get themselves a Manaphy that you could have had in your Pokemon bank.
That is correct.
And chose not to.
That is correct.
Yeah. It's a well-seasoned egg at this point, though. It's been in there for what, 10 years?
Probably.
Yeah. It's a pickled egg.
It's well incubated. But at the same time, I gotta believe that like if the Manaphy egg is primed, that that copy of Pokemon Ranger is worth more.
I would agree.
Yeah. Did you tell them that when you traded it in?
No, because I had no idea.
You should have.
Oh, you fool.
I know.
You should go back and you should say, listen here.
Is this GameStop?
No, our local game store.
Local one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You go back there and you say, listen, that copy that I traded into you still has the Manaphy egg on it, and I expect to be well compensated.
And then they're going to look at me like I'm nuts.
They'll probably know what you're talking about, though, because in my experience, that local game store, the people there kind of are actually pretty knowledgeable.
No, they are. I think that game store is like infinitely better.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't go to that
GameStop.
one more often. It's actually like more convenient for me to go to too.
And the reward stuff is way better.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Why don't I support local?
Because you support the corporate machine, Cole.
I do.
In all things.
I do.
I watch you long for
commercials.
this cyberpunk dystopia that is upon us.
I watch old early 2000s commercials. That's what I do.
See? You long for the corporate machine.
Yeah. I yearn for it. I yearn for the corporate machine. Yeah.
Make me a cog in the machine.
Now that you have pointed out this embarrassing moment for me, where
this is embarrassing.
No, I guess not. Why don't you tell me about your embarrassing moments, Mike?
Oh, okay.
When it comes
Which
to
one?
Well, I don't know. Hey, like we're gonna talk about our previous relationships or attempts at such. And
I could open us up with one that Cole is very familiar with, and I don't think I've told on the pod before. I've ever told the "I'm not this burned" story on the pod. Jay, does that ring a bell to you?
No.
Maybe if you actually start telling it, and you have before, I'll know what you're talking about. But like,
buckle in, get yourself a Whopper, and listen to this.
This is a good one. Yeah.
In high school, grew up in a small town, like an hour out of our city that we live in now. And as a small town boy, I had not been exposed to the glorious thing that is, simply put, goth mummies, basically. Right? Right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's the easy way to say it, right? You don't see that. So then we go to Burger King because we had this obsession with like making it our way at Burger King. It was like the Burger King ad at the time was like, you can make it however you want. Yeah, have it your way. And you could like design a burger on the website, and we printed them out in the computer lab and went into the Burger King with our printed out burgers ready to go.
I want this.
I want this burger. Yeah. And you're probably wondering, how does this at all relate to relationship stories here? And it sort of doesn't, but it's a funny little crush story. And we go in there, and the waitress was probably just your average girl, but I have not been exposed to many outside of my small town. So I was head over heels from first sight, love at first sight with this poor, unfortunate girl.
Yeah.
And so everyone places their orders, and then I go up after and I'm like super shy young guy, right? And I place my order, and I go back to the table, and Cole's brother and Nug Deep are like hyping me up. They're like, "You got to go back up, man. You got to ask for her digits, man. You got to."
Classic.
She's totally into you and stuff.
Classic.
And I'm like,
And Mike's feeling cool at this point because he just had a weekend of snowmobiling, right?
Yes, that's an important detail.
He just had a weekend of snowmobiling, and he got a little bit of like a wind burn on his face.
He's got that dog in him.
He's got that dog.
Yeah, I got that raw skin dog in me. That raw. Anyway, so like what Cole's alluding to is I was snowmobiling, very Canadian activity. And because I have glasses and I'm too young to have contacts, if you close the visor on the helmet for snowmobiling all the way, your glasses will first fog up and then freeze up, which is like worst case scenario when you're going 100 kilometers an hour.
And then you die.
A rocket. Yeah, you smash into something and die.
And you turn.
So what I would do, go ahead, Jay.
Oh, no, nothing.
So what I would do is I'd leave it cracked ever so slightly so it wouldn't fog up, but it was cold. And I went on an especially long snowmobile ride the weekend prior to this. And I got a little windburn right here. And I go. So anyway, they hype me up. I'm all burnt up. My face is all burnt up from this. And they're like, "You got to go get her number, man. You got to go get her number. This is your chance. This is your moment. You just order a burger. You're all hyped up on burgers and fries. She wants you for sure."
I did.
So
just before you go, I did actually record Cody. Like you didn't know this, but I had like a tape recorder there, and I have a recording of Cody Bot actually hyping you up. Here
okay,
it is.
Let's hear
it. Nice.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Just had to blow the dust off him. Okay.
It's an old recording. Yeah.
It is an old. Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that was him hyping you up. Does that get you like pumped up?
Oh, I could run through a wall right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I go back up, super awkward, as is expected. And I'm like, do you have a phone? Remember, this is like in 2006 when not everyone has a cell phone. I guess that's there's only A on this list.
Yeah. There's only A. B, only A.
Yeah, refer back to A. B, refer back to A. So it's a fair shot that she doesn't have a cell phone. And I'm like, I pull out my Motorola Razr, and I'm like, "Do you have a phone?" And then she's like, "Oh yeah, we have a phone here." And I'm like, "No, like your own phone, like your phone number." And then she's like, "Oh, I have a boyfriend." And I'm like, "Oh,
classic."
Yeah.
And then I get back to the table, and Cole and his brothers and stuff are like, Cole, tell the rest of the story.
Well, I mean, Mike came back and we're like, like, that's too bad, buddy. You know, we console him like good friends do, you know?
No.
and we said to him like, well, did you tell her like you're not usually this burnt?
So they wanted me to go back up there and be like, look, I'm not usually this burnt.
Yeah, it was a devastating moment in Mike's life, and he definitely we consoled him though, like in a good friendly way, you know. Made sure he didn't feel bad about it or embarrassed.
Yeah, and then like, you know, don't bring it up regularly.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I just figured, you know, this podcast would be a good time for you to bring up doing
classic.
Yeah, it's a classic. And it's so, honestly, even at the time, like, I mean, at the time you're obviously like, oh, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And it still is a little embarrassing, but like, I'm so far removed from it that like, who cares?
It's more secondhand embarrassment now. Cause like,
like
you're not even that
birth of your child
anymore.
Is imminent. The birth of your child with your wife is imminent.
Yes, that
you're,
too.
You're
and
quite also, far removed from that story.
Like Jay said, I'm more cringing at my younger self, and boy, oh boy, are there things to cringe over of my younger self. Yeah. But you know what? As I said earlier, there's things to cringe at because I did I didn't. Well, I'm not supposed to say that. It's because
okay.
I've done things that maybe I probably shouldn't, but I did. I had fun.
I mean, you didn't do anything like
I had experiences. I didn't do anything bad.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
You just maybe made that girl a little bit uncomfortable, but at the sake of your comfort. Yeah.
And I mean, hey, the fact that you're cringing in general means that you learned.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. An excellent take, Jay. Now, one of you embarrassed yourselves as well. It's a crush.
Here's the thing. Like, I don't really have embarrassing crush things.
Yeah, Cole just gets every girl that he asks out 100% of the time.
I mean, so far I'm batting 2 for 2, so...
I mean, that checks out, but probably by the time you actually ask them out, they're like, what has taken you so long?
That's basically my move. Like, I remember my last girlfriend was like, there was a point before we started dating where I just thought you just wanted a friend.
Okay, I wanted to bring this up during mine, but like, okay, Cole, you understand this. The dense protagonist in anime is real.
It is real.
100%.
It's
if you're a female listening to this, boys are so dense, so very dense.
I wouldn't say dense as much as like I get nervous, where it's like I really identify with the review that we're going to be doing, because it's like I think we're both into each other, but like, what if I'm wrong? Like, I get in my own way. For sure. I think that's the problem. The density.
That's super normal.
Normal. I don't know if it's the density as much as it's the what if I'm wrongness of dating.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I have a story of me being dense, so we'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I that was probably my thing. Like, there was instances multiple times in my life where I was like on the cusp of getting into a relationship and then just like fumbling it because I was too like, oh, we're on a third date. I wonder if they like me. Obviously. And then and then I just fumble it. So
Cole, have you seen the Casually Explained video, Is She Into Me?
No, okay. I haven't. Could you give me the synopsis of it?
Yeah, it's basically the guy, the narrator, giving specific scenarios where it's very obvious that the girl is into you. And then the punchline is always, maybe not. I mean, you can't really tell.
That's basically me. Yeah. What if they're just being friendly?
Yeah, what if they're just being nice?
Honestly, I think part of it though is like the line between friendly and a little too friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And you just throw in a little bit of denseness and then like it's basically fear. And then you're just like, I don't know what to do. The safe thing is to just not act on this, right?
I don't know. And the line between like teasing, like playful teasing, and like flirting teasing is so nebulous.
Yes. Yeah.
Where it's like, what kind of, like, are we flirting right now, or are we just being like friendly,
Yeah. There is like, I truly think that there is such a thing as like friendly flirting. Like, I'm honestly like the three of us when we hang out is a good example of that, right? Like,
that is true. But maybe that's the problem. Yeah. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe I do too much friendly flirting with my co-hosts, and then I get into a situation where it's genuine flirting, and I'm like,
this is just buds being buds.
This is just bros being bros.
But like with a potential girlfriend.
Right. Yeah. That's why we needed a podcast, because we were like, we're just three bros being bros. The world needs to hear this.
They do. Yeah. The world does need to hear this.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's probably like, I don't have a specific story. It's probably more just Cole being an absolute ding dong when it comes to figuring out if a girl is interested in him or not.
I think you two are probably, I think everybody does that. And I think you two are probably more in the camp of leaning towards overthinking and then deciding not to act based on your overthinking.
Yep. Yes.
Whereas like, I'm just too stupid, and I'll just like literally be like, I must do something. It's, you know, like I'm a man of action.
I've hit both extremes, Mike.
Okay. I feel like we've segued nicely into the Jay Garritian story.
Yeah. Do tell more.
So like I said, I hit both extremes. So I can tell two different stories. Which one do you want to hear? Which extreme do you want to hear?
I mean, both.
Both? Yes. Okay.
I mean, to be fair, Jay, like your romantic interests IRL are a complete enigma to me at this point.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Yeah, me too.
Actually.
In my mind
you're very private about this sort of thing.
Yeah. So I guess I'll start. You know what? I have two. We'll go chronological here.
Okay.
The best order, always.
So first off, was the first crush I had in high, or it was like grade 7, so not really high school, like middle school.
Okay, that's like a true crush, I feel.
Yeah. And like I didn't really know how to like get her attention, because like I never really talked to her, but like she, you know, she's funny and nice. It is the typical middle school justification for liking someone. I don't really know. So I'm fumbling around trying to figure something out, and then one of her friends messages me and is like, "You want me to write if you write a letter, I'll put it in her locker for you."
Nice, wingman.
And I was like, I don't know what to write in a letter. She was like, "Okay, I'll write a letter for you and put it in her locker."
Oh no.
So I was like, okay, sounds good. I have no idea what she wrote.
Oh, okay. You never actually
looked at the letter.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But I saw her put it in the locker. And also when the girl I liked opened it, and just like fear and shame washing over me.
Which is the appropriate response.
Yeah. What have I done?
What have I done?
Oh no. She opens it up. It's just a big heart with "I love you."
I love you.
And that's kind of where the memory ends, because I don't really.
He's repressed the rest of it.
I've repressed those forsaken memories.
But I would say she obviously did not reciprocate these feelings based on
based on context.
I feel like you'd remember that.
Yeah. She mysteriously disappeared after that. She moved away.
And then I never saw her again.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Well, that's okay, Jay. That's all right.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that memory. But you do have one more.
I do have one
more.
Share, I put myself in this hole.
You did. Yep.
So this is much later on, like grade 11, grade 12.
It was juicier then. I like it.
Yeah, this is fresh.
And
this is a fresh wound.
So this is me being dense 8-9 years ago.
Okay.
So I was friends with this girl. And like, you know, she liked anime. We had very similar interests, very similar senses of humor. So like we were naturally pretty close. And we bonded over One Punch Man because that show just came out.
Okay.
And one day she came up to me and she's like, you know, if you asked me out, I'd say yes. Which, like, you know,
I wonder.
Pretty good hint. Pretty good hint.
And me being the oblivious SOB I am,
being Jay,
me, goes, she's probably just joking. This is probably some kind of joke. Yeah.
It's
probably some kind of joke. I'm just gonna pretend like she didn't say that and keep status quo, because I mean, obviously she was joking.
Yeah, obviously.
Despite the fact that
because that's a hilarious joke to tell somebody, right?
Yeah, it's a funny joke. Despite the fact that like throughout and like after that, throughout most of her interactions, she'd either say like "I love you" or like, but like, okay, it was like in a very like casual way. So it was like,
this is not real.
This is
You cannot be this dense.
Despite the fact that she would say, let's go out, let's date, Jay. And you were like, that's good one, buddy.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is when the this is like harem protagonist level of dense.
Yeah, yes. that one's up there, Jay.
Jay, I'm gonna remember this story next time that I bash some harem protagonists for being too dense, because it's like they're out there. They're out there. I love you. Nice one.
Good one.
But
you almost got me.
My justification for that is like she said it so casually that I was like, what? Like. I just thought it was just like her over exaggerating, and she just was like, yeah, I like you as a friend.
Yeah.
No, I honestly see how it could happen. Happens to the worst.
It's just funny. It's funny in hindsight, because it's like clearly when you piece in the moment, you don't piece all of that together, but like when you're able to separate yourself and put everything, all of that information together, you can look and see.
You're like, oh, I'm so stupid.
Wait a minute.
Hold on. I don't think she was joking.
Yeah. I have kind of a similar one that I'll just quickly say before we bounce into the mailbag.
Sure.
Because I thought I realized this recently too, and which is the worst part of this is I was reading. I think it might have been like a Reddit thread or something like that about like what are some dumb, dense moments that you had as a guy.
Yeah.
I know someone saying like. They went out, they were like hanging out with a girl. She's like, oh, I'm so cold. And like basically he's like, he gives her his jacket.
Classic.
She's like, oh, classic move.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh no, I'm kind of thirsty. And then they go in for like a cup of tea. And they're cuddling on basically under, like she's like on the couch with him drinking the tea. She's like, I'm still kind of cold. So he gets her a blanket.
Yeah.
Instead of cuddling and stuff like that. And I thought back to this, I went back in my brain. This triggered a memory of like I had this huge crush on this girl it's probably like 10th grade ish. And I went to her house to hang out for a sleepover. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Pretty,
first, that's a pretty big hint, obviously, right there.
Buddies, just buddies being buddies,
Yeah. At one point in this night, we were literally in her bed watching like, I forget, it might have been YouTube videos or TV or something like that, or a movie.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, movie's over. Good night. And I go out and just sleep on the couch. And it just triggered, just reading that, I'm like,
Yeah. No, you just triggered something for me too. This was most recent one, actually. It was a second or third date with this girl, and she had to drive in because she lived in a small town, outside of the city. So she got a ride in or whatever, and we met and we hung out and we walked around the classic date space in our city, which is in the middle of the city. I'm sure you guys
actually
know
a great
what I'm
date
talking about.
spot, to be honest.
Yeah, so we're walking around, and like before the date started, I'm like, hey, I can give you a ride home. She's like, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, yeah. And then midway through, she's like, actually, can you give me a ride home? Hint one. Should have taken that as a good sign.
She decided you were allowed to know her address midway through the date. Okay, good sign.
Yeah, I'm like, ote. So then I drive her home, and then we sit out in the parking lot for like 20 minutes, and she just keeps like talking to me.
Getting closer.
Oh, yeah, waiting for me to like, make a move. And I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's over there and that's there. She's like pointing out, that's where the store is, and that's where the thing is. Like,
this is where my lips are. Yeah,
basically. And then it was that was the last date. Yeah. No, goofy behavior, Cole. Just absolute dense, dumb.
I feel like we've learned something today, and that's that we are all dense.
We're so dense.
Yeah, most people are.
We've
dense.
learned that we are only good at podcasting.
It's time for the mailbag.
It's mailbag time. If you got a mailbag question, you can send it over to us at our website, AniProPod.com/mailbag, or on our Discord. Links to everything's in the description, of course. This is a patron priority mailbag. Wee woo. It comes from Mog. After the latest chapter of Chainsaw Man, I'm seeing lots of Denji is the most misunderstood character takes on my social media feed. Who do you think is the most misunderstood character in anime/manga? The most recent chapter of Chainsaw Man kind of blew up too.
It did.
So funny.
Pretty good reason, I would say. Because it was
goofy.
Flipping wild.
Yeah. It's some classic weird Fujimoto stuff.
Yeah, that was Fujimoto really getting his freak. It was another instance of him getting his freak flag on.
Yeah. I mean, I always say Shinji is super misunderstood. People, and like even my co-hosts, I have to defend my boy Shinji from my co-hosts. Get in the robot, Shinji. Get in the robot. And it's like, no, I understand why he doesn't want to get in the robot. Every time he gets in the robot, something bad happens. That's why he doesn't want to get in the robot. I don't blame him for not getting in the robot. It's
but
fine.
cool things happen when he gets in the robot.
Yeah, he gets to pilot a big robot.
Yeah, exactly.
But then like he gets like existential crises every time he gets in the robot.
Fair.
Yeah. So
well, just
I'd be hesitant to get in that robot too. I would be maybe not so willing to get in there, but maybe that's just me. I'm a dense dum-dum. What about you guys? Who's a misunderstood character, Jay?
Well, I think Sukuna's very misunderstood. He just wants to. No, I'm joking.
He just wants to have a good time.
I was like curious to see where you're going with that. Yeah.
He just wants the world to burn. He's like the Joker. No, I think. Okay. I got a hot take.
One?
I got a hot take.
Okay.
I think Rudy is misunderstood.
Okay.
Because so many people say like, oh, he's weird and pervy and terrible. That's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. Yeah. You're not supposed to like that about him, and the show is about him growing from that.
Preach, Jay.
Yep. Go off,
you got it. Yep. I agree completely. Yeah. Rudy is his whole arc is being more of a rounded character rather than just a
decent human being.
Yeah. Rather than just a pervy weirdo.
Yeah.
He's supposed to. It's honestly like refreshing a little bit because he starts off as not this perfect person, and you get to actually watch his character develop, drastically, and he's it's great. I think part of the whole point of him is that people miss that nuance, and that's a great take, Jay.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna go out on a limb here, guys, and say my hot take of the week. Mushoku Tensei is pretty good.
It is pretty good.
Character development is up there.
I still need to watch today's episode, but
me too.
From what I've heard from fans, this one's gonna be a doozy.
Ooh, I like a doozy.
Yeah, doozies are good. I'm 2 episodes behind though, so I won't know this doozy for a while. Yeah.
Are they dubbing it, Mike?
Yep, just they're like a.
Oh, okay. That's
it's
why
weird. It's like a 2 episodes to an episode and a half because I think the dub episode comes out, or like sometimes I'll watch the dub episode and there'll only be 1 episode left. So it's weird. It's weird. Yeah, I plan to watch the rest of it sub to catch up before the awards though. Is usually what I end up doing.
Yeah. Just so you're current on it. But Michael, it's your turn.
My turn. I'm gonna go with one of my favorite ones, and it's a similar one to Jay. And I think I've brought this up before too, and so is I think honestly, Jay's brought up the Mushoku Tensei one too, so it's a fitting one. I'm going with my boy Eren Yeager. People look at him like he's some kind of like Giga Chad.
Okay,
they look at him in 2 different ways. They either look at him as Giga Chad, who he's like this alpha sigma male who's like just like, no, I'm just gonna just destroy stuff. I'm just his boss. Or they look at him as like the pure villain.
Mm-hmm.
And he's neither of those, really. He is kind of both of them, but at his heart, he is a scared boy who is really just doing whatever he can to save his friends. And that's his real motivation, is he wants to save his friends.
Right. Yeah.
And then everything he does is the only way he can do that.
Yeah. I like that take, Mike. Well, it's the only way that he thinks he can do it.
Like, I mean, he's looked through, like, he's done the thing, I forget what it is he's done the Doctor Strange thing where he's like seen every possible scenario, and this is the only one.
Yeah. No, I like that take. Probably more for the previous half that you mentioned, because people, like, I've had arguments with people where they're like, I said Eren Yeager was the antagonist of Attack on Titan, and people were like, no, he's the protagonist. And I feel like this is a situation where people maybe wouldn't accept that Eren Yeager turned at a certain point in the story from being a good guy to the bad guy in the series.
And I mean, they sort of they kind of told you, because literally they switched studios when he became the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like it completely changed art styles and everything.
Like, I know at the end of the series, like, things are revealed and stuff, but like for that last portion of the series, like, Eren Yeager is unquestionably the antagonist that our heroes are trying to stop.
Yeah. And to back up my point a little bit more further, the second point that you were less caught on, he comes off, he's wearing this cool, like, trench coat. He's standing there with his abs all ripped and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what he portrays to the public. And those are the things you get seen shared on like social media and stuff. Yeah. And then people will also post the scenes where he, like, at the end when he's like crying in the water, like a little baby boy. Or the scene where, like, it's just like, that's really who he is. He's the boy crying in the water. He's just putting on a brave face. Yeah. Because he knows he has to do some really awful stuff.
I don't know. He's just a well-written character.
Yeah, he's a well-written character. These are all three of these are well-written characters.
Is he though?
Yes, he is.
Yes, Jay. Yes.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he
anyway,
is. The fact that there's these arguments about him online is a pretty good indication that he's well-written. Don't worry, Jay. I like Rudius more than Eren Yeager. Don't worry. I think they're
about equal for me too. I do think, though, the sign of a well-written character is the nuances of being a well-written character get missed and misunderstood. So yeah, because the average, if you're just quickly watching and not paying attention, you won't pick up on that stuff.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, a well-written character has some depth to them that can be missed by some, not to come off as like super what's the word I'm looking for?
Elitist?
Pretentious, yes. Oh. Yeah, or elitist, yeah. Not to come off as pretentious and elitist, but yeah, the well-written characters sometimes are missed by the less
versed.
Less versed? Yeah, sure. Let's go with that.
I know what you're trying to say. I know what you're trying to tiptoe around.
Yeah,
the less media literate people.
Yeah. Let's say that.
I would just say even if you're just not paying attention, but
yeah. Speaking of media literate, we have a review that we're gonna flex our media literacy on. So I think what we should do is we should go to a break and then come back from the break, and then when we come back from the break, post break, we will review this show, and that show is called Kimi ni Todoke, From Me to You. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Should we reveal maybe the review that's after right now, or do you want to do that after the break? I forget what we talked about. I think
we can do it now. We can reveal the reviews now.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm reminding Cola what he said before.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, let's review. We're not going to blow our load here, if you will. We're going to reveal. Like yeah. There's 3 reviews coming up. We're going to reveal them through the show. So the first review our next review is Jay's pick. So Jay, why don't you tell us which review we're reviewing next?
For sure. This show, do I need to go through the preamble of spoiling or giving hints?
I don't think you need to.
Do what you want. It's your
Because
review.
you guys know what it is.
The listeners don't.
The listeners don't know.
Okay, that's fair.
Just give us a couple. Us a couple, and then get to
Okay. So it's by Studio Cloverworks. Came out in spring of 2021.
Okay.
Is based on a manga. And has the genres fantasy, horror, mystery, and slice of life.
And what's the studio? Did you say?
Cloverworks.
Okay. That's always the one I find the biggest hint to me.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we will be watching the first season of Shadow's House.
Yes. The spooky shadows, they're in the house and they're in the call. Should
I read the synopsis? Because when I revealed it to the two of you, you kind of seemed, what is this show?
I feel I just don't know much about it other than some people really like it.
Yeah. I remember the show a little bit. I didn't watch it. But yeah, go ahead. Read the synopsis, Jay.
High atop a cliff sits a mansion known as Shadow's House, home to a faceless clan that pretends to live like nobles. They express their emotions through living dolls that also endlessly clean the home of soot. One such servant, Emiliko, aids her master Kate as they learn more about themselves and the mysteries of the house.
Ooh. That kind of cut off at a weird point. I thought there was going to be more. I do see when I go to the Annie list page for this that there are nice tags that I enjoy, like seinen and maids, female protagonist. Always a fan of a female protagonist. But there's also 10 spoiler tags. So this review will probably have a spoiler section if I had to guess.
Probably. And also, if we're going and looking at the recommendations, The Promised Neverland, Go Sick, Toilet Bound Hanako-kun, Made in Abyss.
Okay. I feel like this is going to be dark for sure, and some messed up stuff is going to happen. I'm kind of sneaky excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I'm terrified, to be honest.
It looks a little spooky, to be honest with you.
I need to go hide under my covers.
Do you need a quick break to do that?
I think I need a quick break.
Yeah, I'd probably go just like me and that girl in high school when you're like under the covers watching a movie.
Yeah.
Just get nice and cozy, nice and separate, and just
I picture like you guys are watching and then it ends and then you just like, well,
literally the moment the credits hit. Well, I was good.
Like you were spring loaded, just like, I got to get out of this bed right now.
If anyone is wondering, I was not supposed to watch the movie actually watching the movie. I was supposed to.
The movie was just a pretext.
Yes.
It was Netflix and chill.
Yes.
Before Netflix and chill.
Before
that
Netflix
movie was supposed to be shut off midway through.
Yes. Anyway.
Let's go to
break.
Welcome back.
Yes.
Welcome
back.
Welcome. Come on in.
Take a seat.
Water's nice.
Grab some.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
Come into Anipro's bed.
Come into our bed.
Let's watch a movie.
Let's
watch a movie together.
That movie may or may not be on for the entire duration of your stay, but you know.
Oh, Jay's making moves.
Jay's pitching that woo.
Woo is
we're in his domain. His domain expansion. Before the break, Jay revealed which our next review is. So I thought it might be appropriate for Mike to reveal the review after that one.
Yeah. We're just going to come at you quick and hard with some reviews here.
Yeah.
And my next one is a very different take from the one Jay has pitched to us. It is by the studio Gainax, R.I.P.
R.I.P. to a goat.
Part of why I picked this one. Genres are action, comedy, ecchi, and supernatural. You probably guessed it already. Came out in 2010. It's
that recent?
Yeah.
Wow.
First thing came out in 2010.
Is it Mars of Destruction?
No, it is not.
Is it that other one that Hideaki Anno did?
Evangelion?
No. Evangelion.
Yes. Is it Evangelion?
It's not Evangelion.
Oh, okay.
The other big one that people know by Gainax. Gainax turned into Trigger, blah, blah, blah. This is probably the most Trigger thing I would say Gainax put out.
Yeah.
Of their last thing.
I've always thought it was Trigger.
I thought it was Trigger too. We're going to be watching after Jay's Shadow House. We're going to watch Panty and Stocke with Garter Belt.
Oh.
Yes. An anime original produced by Gainax. And it looks like, I was peeking through the staff, it looks like almost all of the staff immediately switched to Trigger pretty much after this. So
I guess you could say they pulled the trigger.
Got him.
Yeah. And this one's been on my plan to watch list for a really long time. And it just seems like an interesting enough show that I feel like we'll have good things to talk about it for. I'll read the synopsis. Panty and Stocking, the Anarchy sisters, are two nasty-ass angels who got booted from the pearly gates for being foul-mouthed bitches. Now they spend their nights blowing up ghosts in the seedy abyss between heaven and earth. Panty likes sex, Stocking likes sweets. Their Afro-sporting main man Garter Belt has a fetish we can't mention. Together, they're turning the mean streets of Dayton City into a buffet of bodily fluids. Ghosts don't stand a chance against their lingerie of mass destruction. And if this debaucherous duo can collect enough heaven coins, they just might get their halos back. It's a slim chance in hell, but anything can happen when you're rolling commando, especially with Panty and Stocking. What a summary of this show.
Yeah, no, I've been looking forward to watching this one for a while. So I'm glad that Mike picked this, to be honest.
I noticed it was on Jay's plan to watch list too. So I was kind of like, oh, it's kind of like made to be. And the other reason I wanted to watch it, and this is going to be the dumbest reason in hindsight, is because I was like, what's like a Studio Trigger show that I haven't seen? And I was like, oh, Panty and Stocking. And then lo and behold, it's not a Trigger show.
Well, it may as well be.
It may as well be. It's like a Trigger show in the way that like Nazca is a Ghibli movie.
Yeah.
Because Nazca predates Ghibli. Yeah.
It's a Trigger show like how Gurren Lagann is Trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's spiritual Trigger. Yeah.
Yeah. It was Trigger before Trigger. Trigger before Trigger was able to trigger its triggering.
That's right.
You know?
That triggers me, Cole.
I'm sorry.
At the very least, this should trigger some interesting conversation amongst us.
Hey,
Much
he
like
did it.
The show we're about to talk about.
Which is?
Kimi ni Todoke, or, if you speak English, From Me to You. I think that's a direct translation too, right? Jay, help me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it is. They say it a few times in the show, actually.
They do say the thing
They say the thing
a
few times in the show. Yeah, so we're going to review Kimi ni Todoke, the first season, only the first season. Who would be foolish enough to watch the second season of this show?
I watched the third.
Definitely
Jay,
me.
Don't be a silly little goose.
This show came out in October. This show came out in October of 2009. 2009. What a year. That's the year I graduated high school. 25 episodes. It's from a S-tier studio known as Production IG. Inarguably an S-tier studio.
More like Production, I guess.
Should have called it Production IB, a B-tier studio. Check out our patron bonus for if you want to know what's going on there. Yeah.
If you want to understand what my co-hosts are.
We rated.
Patreon. We tier listed studios. So allow me to read the synopsis of this and give me a break, because there's some Japanese names in here, and everybody knows how good I am at reading Japanese names. Kuronuma Sawako is completely misunderstood by her classmates. Her timid and sweet demeanor is often mistaken for malicious behavior. This is due to her resemblance to the ghost girl from The Ring, which has led her peers to give her the nickname Sadako. Longing to make friends and live a normal life, she is naturally drawn to Kazuhaya Shota, the most popular guy in class, who is, quote, 100% refreshing.
Does it actually say that?
It says, whose, quote, 100% refreshing personality earns him great admiration from Sawako. So when Kazuhaya starts talking to her, maybe there is hope for the friendships Sawako has always longed for. Maybe ... There's even a little hope for some romance in the future.
Oh my God.
There might be premarital handholding in this one, guys. There may be. So I watched this show. This was honestly one of the easiest shows I've watched.
It certainly is an anime of all time.
I started it on Wednesday and I was done it Friday night. I watched all 25 episodes in 3 days because I just couldn't get enough of it. When did you finish it, Michael?
I think I started it on Monday, and I think I finished it. It might have been Friday. I think it was Friday too. Yeah, and that's just because I had other things to do on the Tuesdays and Thursdays. But honestly, like, I agree, this was such an easy binge, and it just flowed so nicely.
Yeah, the show does a very good job of like the cliffhanger endings. Makes you want to watch the next episode.
And then did you also watch on Netflix too?
I did.
This one's available on Netflix and Crunchyroll. But the thing about Netflix is it makes it so easy to binge, because like before you even know the episode's over, you're like, oh, the episode's over. And then it's like, I'm already playing the next one.
You can't stop me.
Yeah.
Does Netflix have episode 16?
There's 25 episodes.
Yeah.
Which one's episode 16?
Episode 6.
The recap one?
It's the recap one.
Oh, then no, it didn't.
No, okay.
It didn't, yeah.
Neither did Crunchyroll. And when I was watching it, I was like, where's episode 16? So I looked into it, and it was like, it's a recap, and I was like, oh, thank God. So technically it's 24 episodes.
Okay.
They're just that, you know what? I appreciate that, because I hate when we're watching something like years later and there's a recap episode in the middle of it, because I'm binging this. This is not a weekly affair anymore. Yeah, why are we including the recap episode?
I just don't like recap episodes, period. It's just
you have a big brain. You don't need the recap.
I don't need the recap.
See, the thing for me is, like, if they were going to call it, like, if they were going to do a recap episode, have it be like episode 15.5.
Yeah,
because like
listed as
because like when I saw episode 16 was missing, I was like, oh God, why is episode 16 missing?
Yeah, it shouldn't be listed in the actual number of episodes,
episode number order. Yeah,
that just shows you how much more Jay pays attention, because I didn't even notice I missed an episode.
I didn't notice
the number skipped one. Yeah,
but like I wasn't like, which episode number is this?
Yeah.
And like Mike said,
maybe that's a teaser for how we felt about it too, because we weren't checking how many more episodes to go.
No, for
Netflix
me, like,
spoon feeds.
No, it was just like on Crunchyroll. Every time the episode starts, like, there will be like a header that says what the episode number is. And so
Netflix doesn't do that.
And so I was like,
Netflix knows.
Okay, I'm on episode 15. Like, I just knew that because it showed me. Yeah. And then the next episode was episode 17. I was like, wait a minute. So I exited out of the thing. And I was like, no, we're going to episode 16. Did they like put it in like a different place in the queue, or like? So I looked around and I was like,
actually, that is not right, Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
And Jay was already scribing the letter to Crunchyroll.
Sternly worded email.
Jay, when did you finish this show?
Saturday night.
Saturday night. When did you start the show?
Thursday.
Oh,
Okay.
Thursday.
I was gonna laugh if you said Saturday morning.
yeah. So it wouldn't be unheard of, but essentially 3 days is the binge for a 24 episode show. Okay, good to know. Good to know.
So let's dive into this review, gentlemen. Let's put on our diving trunks. Let's go up and thinking caps. Go up to the diving board. Walk halfway out, notice that the diving board is beginning to bend, get scared, jump off, hit our ankles, belly flop.
This feels pointed.
No, I was just painting a picture for our audience.
Yeah, just mental picture. Nothing that's ever happened to one of us.
Nothing that's ever actually happened in real life.
Yeah, I think a good place to start would be with our lead character, Sawako Kuronuma, who is an absolute, she is literally a feather off an angel's wing. She's
a cinnamon roll.
She is the sweet. I have diabetes from watching this show.
I wanted to get a clip of Wilford Brimley for this episode.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Yeah. Mike, could you maybe describe Sawako to us?
Yeah, I would say Sawako is your typical. So basically, her whole shtick is that the show starts off with her being too intimidating for other people to talk to, but really she's just kind of a normal girl who's incredibly shy and awkward and kind of just content in life with any situation she's put in. She's very adaptable like that. And then she just like learned to basically live all alone until she reaches peak age of not quite 16, but she does turn 16 in this show. And I would describe her as, I feel like cinnamon roll is not quite the right word, because she does have more feelings and stuff like that than just pure sugary sweetness, but she is quite sugary sweet as well. Like she's almost impossibly naive at times.
Yeah.
And just takes everything to heart. And she kind of does the thing that we alluded to in the first half, where she's just constantly overthinking things, doesn't want to make herself a nuisance for anybody. And she's great. Honestly, she's a great character. I'm curious to what your guys' thoughts on her.
Like one thing, for example, like with her naivete, she knows that everybody talks about her as like, she looks like the girl from The Ring. That's why people call her Sadako. So people say like
one letter different. Yeah.
People say she's cursed, or she can speak to ghosts and stuff. And she's not hurt that people say that about her. She's nervous that she's not going to live up to these expectations that people have of her.
Yeah.
Like the naivete on her is like dialed up to 11. So part of her growth is like learning to not be so naive in a way.
Yeah, because she gets exposed to like more relationships and conversations with people as this show goes on, and you can kind of see her like developing as a person, kind of. Because like there's a pretty hilarious scene where she's like, just so you know, I can't actually see ghosts, and she like means it from like the depths of her heart. And like the people she's saying this to react as a normal person would, where it's like, oh my god, this person is that naive and like sugary sweet that like they actually think that we thought they saw ghosts, and then they just burst out laughing.
We got lots of characters though, so let's move on to the next one, which would be our leading man, Kazehaya Shota. Jay, who is our leading boy? Who is he? What does he do?
He's the typical popular kid you'd see in like the shojo shows, but like there's a little bit more depth to him. He's very kind. He has like he's not like the other boys you see, because because he actually like pays attention to Sawako and like wants to be friends, or maybe even more with her. So like he's kind of the one that gets the ball rolling on her getting friends. And stepping out of that bubble.
Yeah, he is, quote, refreshing. Which I like that description. It's not something you usually hear about people. But he overhears Sawako tell her not friend. I found that kind of strange. Like, she's obviously had at least one friend in the past. She describes him as refreshing, and he hears that, and he asks, how am I supposed to take that? She says it's a compliment. And it's that, and then they become friends, and it's very sweet and cute and nice.
The one thing I do want to say about like that whole thing is like a lot of the time in this, like in this kind of scenario, the loner person will meet the popular character, and like suddenly everything will just be better. Right? And that's not really the case here. It's more like he helps her get the ball rolling, and then she meets other friends that she starts to become or like other people that she starts to become friends with.
Yeah, it's kind of a slow burn.
Yeah.
Like, one comparison I would make is, like, for example, we talk about Toradora, and Ryuji is all of a sudden like everybody in class likes Ryuji.
Yeah.
Where like this one, there's more of a slow building of relationships between Sawako and her classmates.
And
that
you
starts
actually
with
see that
Shota.
with like people being like, oh, I just saw Sawako smile. I didn't know she could do that. And then you just slowly see that like the actual things develop. And that's one thing I think you've touched on here, Jay, that the characters in this are obviously the strong point, I would say, as they are in probably every shoujo. But I feel like every character in this feels like a real living, breathing person, and they react the way you think they would. And you can predict how they're going to react to things a lot of the time. I thought they were really well developed and had believable motivations. And
I think that they are caricatured a little bit, but like they're caricatured in a way that's at least understandable.
Yeah, I mean, they're a little tropey, but like their reactions make sense, even given their tropes.
Yeah.
Our next character is best girl Chizuru Yoshida. Mike, who is this? This is you know what? Let me help you out.
Who is this? This is the
new one. Yeah.
This Chizuru is, she's your stereotypical like tom girl or tomboy or whatever. I can't remember. She is like her trope is that she's like got that tough exterior, but like inside she's just a softie, like the biggest softie in the show. She just cries whenever Sawako does something super sweet. That would be her trope.
There's even like that scene later on where her mom's talking to her childhood friend. She's like it may not seem like it, but she is a girl after all.
Yeah, remember that she's a girl. Yeah. She kind of gets like, besides our main duo, she gets a lot of like plot time in this season between her and her potential romantic interest. And I think she's the best.
I think that like
Cole always loves the sporty girl.
I think at the same time, the fact that she got as much development as she did in this season kind of attributes to that, because like there's another girl in this show who we'll get to in a minute that like doesn't have that, but I suspect in like later seasons she'll get something.
It kind of felt like this was her arc almost that played out.
And like
go ahead, Cole.
Oh, I was just going to say, go ahead.
The main arc is obviously Sawako and Kazuhaya. And it felt like this was the arc where they show Chizuru, and then maybe next season they move on to another character.
I think like, yes, the main arc is the two of them, but like the show kind of focuses more on all of the relationships in the show. Cause like, it also focuses on her relationships with the two other girls there. It spends some time developing her rivalry with the other girl that likes Kazuhaya.
I guess the better term would have been the A plot is Sawako's relationship, and then the B plots, there's many of them. And they're
the show does a good job of like balancing everything out. The other thing that Chizuru does often is like she's dense, like she's dumb. She's your stereotypical dumb girl, but then she'll just drop some like wisdom, not wisdom, but like she'll say something that kind of is impactful for Sawako. Like, I think there's the plot point where they're like, she's wondering if they're friends, and she's like, we're obviously friends.
Yeah. I feel like Chizuru and her the person that we're dancing around a little bit, her kind of partner there, are kind of like perfect foils a little bit to Sawako, because Sawako's so reserved, and these two are so out there and extroverted and like just ready to like they're just blunt, basically, is kind of the word I would use, and that helps break down the walls of the introversion and the walls that Sawako's built around herself, right?
Well, that brings us nicely into our next character, Michael, which would be Ayane Yano, who is probably one of my favorite like image, like visual gags with her, is whenever they go to like the chibi view of her and her lips are just like fish lips. But who is she as a character though, Mike?
So the last girl was your typical. It's funny because you basically get 3 shoujo protagonists in this show. You get Sawako, who's the shy, timid, Komi type girl, right? And then you get Chizuru, who's like the sporty girl who's actually soft inside. And then you get Ayane, who is the Gyaru girl, who actually just kind of is just a chill girl, really. She's just kind of chill. She just goes with the flow. She is kind of Gyaru-y a little bit, I would say.
Yeah.
She wears makeup. She's clearly has no problem talking with other guys, or there's a scene where she's like holding arms with another guy and it's nothing to her and the guy's freaking out. It's like that's kind of her personality, but she's a really good friend. And I think the pair of her and Chizuru, like I said, are basically perfect to bring Sawako out of her shell. What do you guys think about Ayane?
No, I like her a lot too. Like she's kind of the fixer of the group in a way. Like the issues that happen between, like, Chizuru's got her drama, and of course Sawako has her drama, and Ayane has some drama in her life, but like it's kind of not,
it's kind of on the back burner as well. Like it's not really the focus of, at least not the first season.
It happens off screen almost.
Yeah,
like
so her major role in this story is kind of the support character. She goes behind the scenes and like does some wheeling and dealing. Like there's that one scene at the lockers where she approaches the rival girl, and like basically lays it all out.
Yeah, she's doing some scheming behind the scenes.
I would say she's the most like normal of this trio and most willing to just kind of be like, I see what's going on, I'm gonna do something about it.
Yeah. She's the brains of the group.
And I think that goes like that makes sense, because Sawako is cripplingly antisocial in like how, like in terms of like her ability to communicate her feelings.
Antisocial is not maybe the word I'd use. I'd use maybe awkward, because she wants to talk to people. She just is not very good at it.
Yeah. You get the point though. Chi is just like kind of the
dumb.
Yeah, I didn't want I wanted to dance around the word, but yes.
Ditzy.
She's dense.
Maybe is a nicer word.
Yeah.
So she's kind of the only one that has the tools in her toolkit to be able to do these kind of things, right?
Yeah, she's the best equipped. She reminds me a lot of Ichika from Quintessential Quintuplets for some reason. I don't know if that's a good take or a bad take, just because she's kind of the most mature of the 3.
She's kind of scheming. She's a schemer.
A little bit.
Yeah. And our final character who's listed as a main would be Ryu Sanada, the quiet boy who plays baseball. There's not much to say about him, but I really like him as a character too, because he's almost like comic relief often in how little he says. Like there's his gags are usually just like he just doesn't respond to anything.
But that also plays into the drama, because like because he doesn't say a lot, a lot of what he does said gets misunderstood or misrepresented. And I mean, misunderstandings is one of the big running motifs in the show.
Absolutely.
so like, they're like, basically the whole arc with Chizuru has in
lot
part
to do
to
with
play
him.
with him and her misunderstanding what he's telling her.
Yeah, or just him not telling her, period.
Yeah.
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 Which is like a common thing in shoujo and anime in general.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, it's understandable
it in real
too.
life too.
Yeah. Like he's nervous to tell her something.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. And then just quickly, like, there are some important supporting characters. The teacher Pin is
Pin, yeah, he's great.
Goofy guy.
Yeah.
I'd say he's more of the comic relief character.
Oh,
Kinda.
He's the pure comic relief. Yeah.
He's a shonen protagonist just like thrown into this.
Yeah. He oozes confidence and density. And just he thinks everybody's into him, which is hilarious too.
Yeah, it's really funny.
And then of course our final like main supporting character would be Kurumizawa.
Yeah.
Who's the rival of Sawako.
Ah, yes.
She's also got a crush on
the scheming, manipulative rival.
Yes.
Yeah. Your classic standard tropes.
Yeah.
I just want to quickly touch on Peen. One thing I really appreciated about this show, and kind of Peen is a good thing to segue into this a little bit, is that there is like essentially zero fan service in this at all.
Yeah.
With the characters are all treated pretty respectfully. And even Peen, like there's a scene where like a young girl, he views it as she confesses that she likes him. And he's like, what? No, you're a high school girl. Go away. I'm sorry.
I'm not into kids. Yeah.
I'm not into kids. Bye.
And I mean, like, it's shoujo doesn't normally have any ecchi in it. So like,
the fan
that kind of
service
goes without.
The fan service is the slow motion boy running towards girl. That's the fan service in a shoujo.
That's the fan service.
Let's discuss the pressing question that everybody's asking. I can hear him asking.
Michael, I'm ready to talk about it.
It's at the top.
How's the production of this one?
Oh, I was going to say sub or dub.
Oh, sub or dub. Oh, yeah. Hot topic actually is that the dub just got released for this like a couple months ago. For seasons 1 and 2, because Netflix has basically gone all in on From Me to You for some reason.
Well, I think because they're getting season 3.
Yeah, but that's for sure why. But they basically said, okay, let's get season 3, let's dub 1 and 2, let's make a Netflix series. Like they made a live action series. They're going all in on this. It's and the dub in my watch was just as good as the sub. It's the voices are very comparable. You could probably switch back and forth and it wouldn't be too jarring.
And you did dub then?
I did dub. Yeah. What about you guys? We know what Jay watched.
I mean, I watched Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll does not have the dub.
Yes.
Yeah. I watched sub. I think there's that point where I was like 5 episodes in and I'm like, okay, I'll check out the dub. And then I'm like, no, I don't. These voices don't match for me. You get to that point where like you get used to the voices and
I'd say
you can't switch.
Yeah, after 3-ish episodes, you kind of lock in.
Yeah. Also, like INA is played by Miyuki Sawashiro, who's one of my favorite seiyus. So I'm not gonna not listen to that one. And I was surprised, to be honest, that I thought Sawako was Jay's girl there. She sounded just like
Sarahime.
Yeah, but it's not. It's Noto
Mamiko. Mamiko Noto.
Yeah. I thought for sure it was what's her name? But just character design as well. Like okay, guys, I'm gonna compare the character design in this to a manga that I don't talk about very often, but I feel like they are similar in terms of character design, and that would be, I don't know if you guys have heard of this. It's called March Comes In Like a Lion.
Oh, interesting. Interesting you bring that up.
Is that just me? Like, who thinks that these characters
I get where you're coming from. I think like maybe not the chibi, but like definitely like when I see the mouths,
the big
mouths are very, very similar.
Yeah. That's kind of the main thing. Yeah, the chibi thing, like this is definitely, it has a lot more of that like cartoony aspect to it, in addition to the standard stuff. But yeah, that when I was watching it, I couldn't help but notice similarities there.
I'd say like the art style. So we're in like the production stuff now, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. And I would say the art style definitely is very like of the shojo genre, and definitely in like the early 2010s. And that's kind of the vibes that March Comes In Like a Lion has a lot of the time. So it makes a lot of sense for sure. Lots of like the floral pastel backgrounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that checks out. The character designs are kind of like that similar cute.
It's a very pretty show. It's a very pretty show.
It's pretty, but at the same time, it's weird because it looks both good and bad a lot of the time in this show. Like you'll notice like there's lots of panning shots where they just basically don't animate anything. And then there's lots of like all the characters in this show, anyone who's not a main character or even a supporting character kind of just doesn't have a face a lot of the time.
Sometimes,
yeah.
Or in the weird case, like the mums in this show, for some reason, a mum thing in this author's mind is like to have like just eyes and a little line for a mouth. I noticed.
Just the button eyes.
Yeah.
I laughed at that when like Sawako's mom introduces herself to her two friends, and they're just like the beady little button eyes.
Sawako's like mom forgot to finish drawing her face.
Sawako's mom is hilarious. I love how she is like, Sawako's dad is like just dense and like almost like helicopter parent almost. And the mom is just like constantly having to like low key convince him to just like let her go and have fun with her friends. Her mom's
I laughed.
Refreshing to see a dad in anime too.
I laughed when the dad's like, the time has come, and then it's like, no, this is just like the first jab in a boxing match. She's
like, you're in trouble.
I love the Santa stuff at the end too with the dad. It only shows it for a second, but the letter he writes
is not real, just so you know.
Don't
she goes to thank him, and he's all like
I'm so
crushed.
Sorry. It's so funny. She's 16 years old, and he's just admitting that now. But no, I thought this was, I know what you mean, Mike. Like
production's definitely not the strong point, and I know what you guys are going to say. You're going to say it's a shoujo, it's a slice of life, it doesn't need to look good. But yes, I think it's important to look good too. And
I think it looks good at times. Like there are some definitely well animated pen shots in it.
Where I was going to go was I disagree that it doesn't look good. I think it does look good. I think it's like, remember, like the design and everything is from the manga, right? So,
well, I don't think the characters look bad or anything. I just think that you can tell there's not a lot of fluid animation here, which obviously you don't need a ton of it, but it's minimalistic in a way that I feel like detracts from it a bit. And the other thing, I'll let you guys talk on that before I switch to my next gripe.
I was just going to say, like, the minimalism in it is kind of one of its features a little bit. Like
it kind of seems more like a design choice rather than an oversight.
I think it saved itself by choosing the minimalism is what happens.
It also blends itself well into that chibbiness of it when it goes into Chibi Sawako being cute and chibi.
Okay, Cole brought it up. Now time for my next gripe. I thought the chibi stuff, I like chibi as well, but I feel like there was too much chibi in this show, and it was kind of at some of the wrong times. I felt like some of the more serious moments, they would switch into chibi mode, and it would just be like, this kind of, I know we're going for romantic comedy vibes here, but it kind of undercuts it a little bit.
Yeah, I think that would just be a personal thing. Because I noticed that too, but it didn't bother me as much.
It wasn't. It's a minor gripe for sure. Did that bother you at all, Jay?
Not really. I think like more so the thing that bothered me with the show was kind of like how it was paced sometimes was kind of off for me. Because like I just felt like sometimes it slowed down a bit too much, and I was like, okay, but like it was never too much where I was like, oh my god, okay, let's get it going.
Yeah,
but Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that a bit more.
Yeah,
like,
for
when
sure.
we come to the
in
plot
the
side
plot
of things.
section.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Going back to like style and production, I think like the direction of this show is kind of where this show shines over the art and animation. Because like there were some directorial choices where I was like, oh, that's interesting, or like, oh, that's a nice shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think the show is well directed. It's I think it needs to be. Like, I think you need to have a good director with a show like this where the action isn't all of that. Like, you can't get away with having a very bombastic action scene at the expense of direction, because there isn't action scenes in this. You need to have good direction to make it
exactly
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. The direction in this one is, I wouldn't say top tier, but Shaftian almost. I want to say at some points. Yeah,
I want to say that they basically, like, they didn't mess it up. They did a good job of doing a good enough job with the direction, is what I would say.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's true of a lot of this show, is they did it well enough and didn't mess anything up for the most part.
Oh yeah,
is a good,
no, they definitely didn't mess anything up with this one.
I will say the one thing that I kind of noticed is I felt like, I don't know if it was different, but like they played a lot of piano in the soundtrack, and they all sounded very, very the same.
Yeah. Jay, can I commend you on your segue into OST in this show?
Yes, I don't know if Jay's actually has the doc open or not, but this time, yes, he's on board with the plan.
I would agree. That's probably, like, I like the music in this show, but it is repetitive. It's kind of got that like mid-aughts, mid-2000s OST problem where it's like, we have 5 songs, we've got a happy song, we've got a sad song, we've got we've got the OP but played on a piano. Which works. Like, it's not like it doesn't work. It's just, if you're if you're one of those people who pays attention to music in an anime, you're probably going to notice that it's just very repetitive.
I would even argue, even if you don't pay a lot of attention, you will probably be like, hey, didn't I just hear this song like 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Like, because it does get pretty repetitive.
I remember even like commenting to myself, like, they're really big fans of piano in this show. And then I'd hear the same song again and be like, huh.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not going to comment on like, I'm not going to comment
bad.
on like the use of an instrument specifically. Cause I mean, like, you watch a Silent Voice and like, that's famous for using piano. But yeah, no, I think we can all agree on that. Like, we've got 5 songs in this show and could probably, but I mean, like, that's just the way anime was produced at this time too.
Yeah,
right?
True.
I will say
a slice of life anime didn't have like a score to it.
I will say though, like there were some times where like they weren't using music, and like I think that it was to its benefit.
Yeah, I like the lack of music in scenes sometimes. It's impactful. The silence speaks volumes, if you will. Yeah, I would agree with that. What about I mentioned the OP being played on the piano. Did we watch the OP or did we skip the OP all the time? Because let me tell you, boys, I love this OP.
I knew you would. The moment I watched it, I was like, Cole's gonna love this OP. This is a Cole OP.
I like the song. I like the visuals.
Yeah.
I like this OP. Me likey OP this time. Yeah. I'm guessing you guys aren't quite as warm on it.
I liked it. I
liked it
wouldn't
too.
say it was like my favorite OP, but it was definitely like good.
I like the song in it actually. And it's a nice song that kind of fits the show, and like the visuals kind of fit the show too, with like these kind of like watercolory type aesthetics and stuff. And it's very simple. I do like it. I don't think I probably will never watch it again, to be honest with you, just because like it just is not my type of thing.
Yeah,
it's a shojo OP. Like you're not gonna throw it on like let's watch this to get hyped. Like even a Fruits Basket OP, you're not like, yeah, this is it. This is
man. Chime by the Fruits Basket OP with Chime is such.
I like the song for Chime. I can't even think of the. Is that the one with the umbrellas? I think it might be the one with the umbrellas.
I like the first Fruits Basket ED.
I don't
like
remember
the remake.
I might whatever.
Yeah.
Let's not get lost in the weeds here. Speaking of EDs,
Yeah.
Jay. Wow, he did it again. Another segue.
Did it again. He must have opened the dock. Yeah.
The ED for this one. I really like the song. I like the singer's voice. For the ED song. The visuals of it are a little generic.
Very minimal
very
effort,
ED.
is what I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very early 2010s.
Yeah.
ED.
I don't want to say minimal effort because like there's beautiful watercolors and stuff like that. Like those take time, but it's not animated or anything like that. It's very, very generic.
I think at the same time we're kind of spoiled for modern EDs because like a lot of modern EDs are like well animated, produced by like a completely different team from the team that actually does the main episodes.
Yeah.
Whereas this was probably just like painted together by like one person, then thrown together real quickly.
Can you put together 5 pictures?
Yeah.
And we'll edit them together.
Yeah.
And just get a nice song. I will say Netflix was nice enough to skip this one for me a lot of the time. And I wasn't complaining because it's just, I don't need to watch this every time.
Yeah, I watched it like every, I don't know, 3rd or 4th just to keep it in my head because I knew that we do talk about it. So we do.
I usually do the thing where like when I end a binge session, I'll watch the ED. And when I start it, I'll watch the OP. And yeah, it's inoffensive is what I'd say.
Yeah. Netflix also automatically, like, unless you grab your remote right away, you're skipping. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta be on the trigger to get it. Yeah. So Jay also was talking about the pacing of the show, and I want to push back on that, Jay. I thought this show was very well paced. And the reason I say that is because I had no issues watching this show. Like it was one of the easiest shows for me. Like it was 25. It's listed as 25 episodes. We've already gone over. It's only 24. I was dreading starting this because I'm like, oh, I gotta watch 25 episodes of the show in a week. And I started it and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. This show's really good. So
because you're the only one who's seen it before too, right?
I've seen it. Yeah, I've watched it before. It was a long time ago. So thank you for making me watch this again.
Well, I mean, you're one of the reasons we watched it. So
no, I'm thanking the audience members. They voted for this. Yeah, I thought it was paced very well. Like the little arcs, the rumor arc was paced nicely.
I think the early arcs were good. Kind of just like around the middle of the arc with Kurumi, just kind of got a little lost in the sauce a bit. And then
I think because that's a pretty generic plot line. Yeah,
maybe. And then I think like a little bit of the arc after with what's her name? Chizuru and her romantic adventures.
Yeah. Escapades. I like that plot point though, because it was different, right? Like we had a whole different character.
Yeah. Overall, don't get me wrong, I think it's well written. It's just like sometimes the pacing just kind of was a bit wonky for me. But
no, I shouldn't argue with something that's
you can definitely
preference.
argue. It's you're arguing your point of view, right? And I side more with Cole on this one. I had no issues watching this. At no point did I ever get bored or think it slowed down too much or went too fast. But there are maybe a few times when it went a little fast, but it's just because there was a lot happening. Like for example, the rumors arc, or really that's about it actually. Because I think like the idea of like the rumors spreading quickly was fine because it's like it exemplifies how fast a rumor can spread. So right,
that was fine. It was just like sometimes it just kind of felt a little wonky afterward.
Again, it's your
art
is subjective.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I mean. Like I don't want to argue with if Jay felt that way, then
you can't tell him he's wrong, but you can say that you disagree, right?
Yeah, I can tell him he's wrong.
You can, but like anything. I mean, you can do whatever you want.
You can do what you want, and
I mean, like you wouldn't be right to say that I'm wrong.
That's right. I do feel like pacing problems whether or not there are any. Like, I feel like the progression of the show makes sense. Like A leads to B leads to C. Like, everything flows nicely. There's no point in this where it's like, wait, why is this happening now?
Oh, there's definitely like coherence to the plot. I'm not saying that there's no plot coherence. It's just like sometimes it felt like it dragged on a little bit.
Yeah, and that's going back to personal preference. Right? I would agree that the whole plot for me was paced well. It's definitely a slower pacing just because it's a slow burn shoujo romance, right?
Yeah.
But it definitely is coherent, and there's definitely like everything that happens makes sense, and it didn't feel like the thing they always say with like good storytelling is things happen and lead to other things,
right?
And it felt like everything that happened in the show led to the next thing that happened, and I really appreciated that. And that's really that, and the Netflix flow effect definitely made this an easy binge.
And I mean, like, things get foreshadowed nicely. Like, we've got some Chekhov gun incidents, like Chi mentions her crush, and then we flow into Chi's crush's arc, and stuff like
or
that.
Like you see Kurumi like right before the rumor arc starts, like just very very slightly, and then it leads into the rumor, and then the next arc it reveals like everything else. So,
it does a good job with that. I could see people having issues with, like, just on a character basis of like people not talking to each other and explaining stuff.
I think that's like one of the main themes of the show.
Yeah. That's
like into the themes and messages. Nicely done.
Oh my goodness. No, I like, just I want to play devil's advocate. I definitely don't side with this, but I could see people being like, oh my God, Sawako is so annoying. Why doesn't she just explain things? And allow me to push back against myself. It's because that's the way the character is written. Everything is consistent in this.
Well,
right?
I think like if you look at Sawako as a character, right? She wants to communicate those things. But like she's been isolated for so long that like she doesn't have the maybe
she doesn't have the tools in her
maybe
bag.
not confidence, but like she's not able to do it in the way she wants to.
Yeah. She just like Mike said, she doesn't have the tools in her toolbox. She doesn't know how to communicate because that muscle hasn't been worked.
Sawako can't communicate now on Netflix.
Yeah, and I actually wrote down on my little whiteboard here that Sawako ran so Komi could walk, and that I feel like that's my take on this. Is like she's just a better, more believable version of than like Komi's just her if you just turned everything up to 12. Like it's unbelievable at that point. Whereas Sawako, I could conceivably see like this. She feels like a real person, like someone who's just very awkward and just doesn't know how to do things. Right.
I mean, like as an awkward person, I mean, we talked about our awkward romance stories. Like I totally relate with all of this. Yeah. Like everything she does is super believable. She ran so Komi could walk.
Yeah, like exactly.
That's good.
But it's like, I think that's really the big theme in this is just like communication is key, and just kind of taking leaps and having someone to help you push you a little bit in the right direction really, really is powerful stuff. And that's kind of the big takeaway, I think, for me from this one.
Yeah. Yeah. And then of course, like your standard slice of life, rom-com stuff, like growing up is another theme.
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty standard. But yeah, the big theme I think we would all agree is communication is key and learning how to communicate. Yeah. And learning what friendship is as well. Friendship is power, and friendship sneaks up on you.
Right. Because like our main character quite literally learns what friendship is basically in this. Because she gets asked, I guess I shouldn't really spoil stuff, but she literally does not understand when she's friends with someone, which is kind of an interesting thing to just explore too, is like at what point are you friends? You just kind of, there's no actual, will you be my friend question, right? Like, it's usually, it's not like that. It's, you just kind of know after a little bit.
Yeah. No,
I asked you guys if you'd be my friend. Don't you remember?
Yeah, I'll get back to you.
Asked us to go out with you. Yeah.
I'll get back to you on that one, Jay.
Will you be my friend?
Will you be my friend?
You sent us a love letter asking to be your friend.
Yeah.
I would just like to
put in your locker.
Yeah.
I mentioned Toradora at one point in this. Are there any other like recommendations you would make? If you liked X, you'll like this, or if you liked this, you may enjoy a different show. I mentioned Toradora. I will say, after watching this, I think this is better than Toradora. After rewatching this,
100%.
And
did we all have the same thought when we watched this? Is this kind of just a better version of Toradora, sort of?
Yeah.
Well, Toradora is more shonen for sure.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like more shoujo, which just has a tendency to be more mature, I find.
Interestingly, I the whole time I was watching, I kept thinking of Toradora, and maybe it's just because it's like the most similar thing that I'm familiar with. But it's weirdly not even on the recommendations list on AniList. Yeah, so we're weird on this one apparently.
The other one that came to mind, which is like out of left field, but I think Cole might understand where I'm coming from, is Origairu. More from like a thematic standpoint of like communication and relationships.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. One, like the top one, which I agree with, because I have the manga out on my bookshelf outside. Skip and Loafer, like this one.
I saw that too.
Very, very similar thematically. So if you watched Skip and Loafer a few seasons ago, go watch this. And then watch the second season.
I also saw Alhara Ride on the recommendations list.
Yeah, Blue Spring Ride for sure. I mean, again, like the third one, it says it's Fruits Basket.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Fruits Basket, but I don't know if I necessarily fly that flag. They're similar in the sense that they're shoujo romance, but I don't know. Fruits Basket's got something else to it. It's got
Fruits Basket's a lot more dramatic. There's a lot more. It's more of a drama than a romance a lot of the time, and this is just a pure romance.
Where
show,
like
a Horimiya would be a better comp in my opinion.
Horimiya, yeah. Like I would say like Fruits Basket is way over on the drama side, whereas something like Komi Can't Communicate is way over on the comedy side. This is like
in the middle,
somewhere in between.
Yeah. Well, I'd just say it's way over on the romance side, I would say.
Yeah, I would say that.
It's really there's only a couple dramatic arcs, and then everything else is just all relationship based.
Which is drama. It's dramatic.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Yeah. What is more dramatic than a relationship?
Yeah.
True.
This podcast. Extremely dramatic. Yeah.
Yep.
And traumatic. Do you guys have any other recommendations before we go into our final thoughts and our ratings here?
I feel like I don't have that many other comparisons, just purely because like I don't have a ton of shoujo watched in my repertoire, so I just I don't, nor romance really. So it's just this is not my wheelhouse. Yeah.
I mean that's fair.
Yeah.
So Jay, you and I, we've got to fly the romance flag.
We do.
What are you?
We do.
What do you think?
Toradora was like the first one that came to mind, and again, Origairu was the other one because I mean, it's about communication and relationships and that.
Yeah.
But in terms of other recommendations, like I don't know.
I feel like we're forcing it at this point. So I think
I mean, you don't have to. Like if you don't got one, I just wanted to give you.
I think like in general, if you like shoujo romance series, you'll probably like this.
Yeah, it's
Dangers
a
in
classic
My Heart.
shoujo romance. Yeah,
Dangers in My Heart.
Yeah,
kind of.
I get
similar characters, similar character dynamics.
Kind of. I think that this is a bit more. Like this being more shoujo, focuses it more on the drama and the characters rather than like the slice of life side of it.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, let's give our final thoughts and our ratings. And for that, I want to go to Mr. Beetlejuice himself. How would you rate this and your final thoughts? What?
Yes. And for me, I I really enjoyed this show. I think it is an easy watch in the age of binging for sure. It aged well, despite my complaints about the production and the GB and stuff like that, and being kind of it's very 2009, I would say. But it holds up in a great way. The characters are all super believable. All the plot points make sense. Everything in this is kind of just well done. I don't see a lot in here that makes me say, wow, that's amazing, though, which makes it really hard for me to put it in the certified tier, even though I'm tempted to. I think if you are a fan of romance and shojo, kind of like what Jay was saying, it's definitely up there. And the other thing I really appreciate about it too is that it's nice to see older shows like this getting continuations. So it's nice that Netflix has been putting the effort into bringing this basically abandoned property back to life. And for that, I must commend them. And it is nice to see a show too, in which the characters are not this overdone stereotype. They are like they do have their tropes. They're all based on tropes at the end of the day, but they are not unbelievably dramatized so that you can't even fathom them being real people, which is probably why there's like a couple different live action adaptations of this, and they kind of work because the characters are all believable in that way. At the end of the day though, I think this one for me is going to go in the I'm so tempted to go certified, but I'm going to go tickled my jimmies. I just can't. It just doesn't get over that hump. It's really close, but it's just not quite there. Yeah. And don't let me forget, you guys need to declare. We need to declare best boys and best girls too.
Oh yes, we do. Yes. Do we want to do that? Let's do best boy, and then Jay can do his final thoughts.
Sure.
And then we'll do best girl after that.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Best boy. It's tough.
There's not as many boys. There's
not as many boys.
I think it's pretty easy for me, honestly.
Well, I think it's Pedro Martinez.
Great name for a dog.
No, go ahead, Jay. If you've got one.
For me, it was Ryu. My best boy. I think like Kazuhaya was a little bit too milquetoast for me.
He's a little one note.
He's a little bit, but like I think that Ryu, I liked seeing him being put in that dramatic situation where like he has feelings for this person and like he's trying to like push them in a certain direction because of how he feels, but because of how he is, he can't really like articulate those thoughts as well as he might want to. So and then also just like the gag of him never knowing anyone's name was also really funny.
Yeah. No, he is. I mean, yeah, he makes it difficult to actually have to pick one. So that's why I'm going to let Mike pick one.
Oh, okay. I'll just for the sake of argument, I think they're all pretty close. For me, there's only 3 that are really in the running though. And it's Kazuhaya, the main guy, Ryu, Jay's guy, and Peen, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And just to be the contrarian, and he kind of I think he's just funny and just a great character. I'm going with Peen because I thought he was great. I don't know.
Yeah. That's interesting.
He fills the role of like the funny teacher who's kind of aloof and just kind of a weirdo. And I like that role. That's funny.
Yeah. I think you guys aren't giving my boy Joe enough of a
Joe
credit. Joe.
Joe Mama?
Joe, last name Mama, the guy who literally didn't even have eyes. He just has lines for eyes.
We're forgetting Sawako's dad.
Sawako's dad's great too. Yeah. I mean, I like Kazuhaya. Yeah, he's kind of one note, but I really like him. Like, I like his character.
Yeah.
He's one note, but like he's a nice boy. He's a nice boy. You could see why people like him.
He's a good boy. He's a good lad.
Yeah. Ryu, I also love Ryu. He's funny. But I mean, on this one, every time he was on screen, I laughed. And for that reason, I got to go with Peen. He is the best boy.
Yeah.
No, he's just goofy, like Mike said. And he's a well-written comedic relief character in the sense that, yeah, every time he's on screen, he
He's
is
the best boy.
engaging. He's an engaging character to me.
When I think back on like, what are some like memorable moments with male characters in this show? Most of them are like Peen or Kazuhaya, just because Kazuhaya is the main guy.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to give Ryu some credit too. He's got some moments.
I don't think there's a bad character in this show.
Ryu just it grinds my gears how often Ryu does. Just looks up from underneath his hat, which is, I mean, that's just a little tropey. But Jay, what are your final thoughts and ratings?
I think that this show is a very interesting show about like relationships, not just romantic, but also like platonic relationships, with how she interacts with her friend group and becomes friends. I like how natural it feels that she slowly develops these relationships rather than it just being shy girl meets popular boy and everything is suddenly better. Right. The art and the music might not be the best, but I think that the writing is solid enough that it doesn't make it doesn't become a deal breaker, really. I think that like the only way I could see you not liking this show is if just shoujo romance isn't your thing.
Agreed.
Yeah. And like,
but then you're probably not watching it anyway at that point, right?
Yeah.
You never know. Like if some people are like, oh, well, I liked Fruits Basket, I don't really like other shoujo romance.
It's true. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, I think at the end of the day, this is a good show. Like Mike said, this is a better Toradora. And it tickled my jimmies at the end of the day. It had a couple pacing issues for me, but I still really enjoyed it. So
yeah. Good, man. It's rare for all three of us to.
It's consistent. It's a good show with a few flaws.
Yeah.
Just purely because of how old it is, kind of. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Jay, for sharing with us. That was lovely.
Cole, would you like to tell us how you feel about this show?
I would love to, but let's do best girl first.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And I already revealed my best girl. It's Chizuru. I think she was her gag of her like pulling out a handkerchief and crying at the drop of a hat was funny to me. Yeah. And she had a lot of character development.
Yeah.
Again, it's same as the boys. Like all of the girls in this are really good too. But for me, Chizuru stole my heart in this show.
Yeah. The only one that like probably is not in the running here is Ume.
I don't know. I even like her.
She's redeeming in the end, but yeah, she does things that just you kind of like, oh
yeah, jerk. But I mean, she's a teenage.
She's a good
girl
character
too.
still.
Yeah.
Though.
Believable again.
Yeah.
Back to that.
Yeah. I'm gonna echo Cole again on this one. I really like Chizuru. She's great. She has such a great arc. I love that she's so upfront and just like wears her heart on her sleeve and just kind of is just not shy at all in any way, except for the ways that you would expect her to be. So, like she's like that, like you said, her mom reminds the dad at one point. She is still a girl, even though she's kind of like this like tough girl who's like out there sporty and stuff like that, and like punching things and stuff. I found her really endearing. So yeah, I'll stop babbling about her. Jay, who's your best girl?
All right, it's time we actually give the actual best girl some recognition. Because she's an absolute ray of sunshine.
Yeah.
And she needs more love because you two Philistines don't understand. Sawako is the absolute best girl in this show. She's adorable.
Preach.
She's naive to a fault and honest to a fault, but it just makes her more endearing. Yeah. And best girl.
I mean, I'm not gonna disagree. It's like 1A, 1B, but I can only pick one. And Chizuru to me was just, I don't know.
And you're wrong. You're simply wrong.
Jay, I'm gonna find you. You
can tell Jay's waking up as we record. He's getting louder. He's sitting up. His eyes are open. Yeah, Jay wakes. Yeah. Jay wakes. He will not stand for this slander.
Yeah, no, don't slander my girl.
I'm glad you picked her, though.
I'm glad you picked her, and I kind of knew you would, which is it helped sway me a little bit more towards my true heart feelings of Chizuru. But Sawako is a very close second, I'd say.
Yeah, I would be remiss also, like, again, INA is also great. Yeah. All three of them, all three of our lead girls are terrific.
And like Cole alluded to earlier, Sawako's mom is also fantastic, button eyes and all.
Yeah, button eyes and all. But I like her more as a gay character, so I couldn't pick her as best girl. But what I can do is give my final rating and my final thoughts. I mean, this is quintessential. This is mandatory watching of shoujo romance. If you like shoujo romance, you must watch this. You simply must. I won't hear an argument for, well, maybe you shouldn't if you don't. No, if you like shoujo romance, watch Kimi ni Todoke.
Hey, almost got it.
I mean, yeah, it's great. It was so easy to watch. So easy, in fact, I binged the second season in a day yesterday. Stayed up till 1 a.m. watching it. And guess what? The second season's also really good. So I've got big hopes for the third season as well. I mean, yeah, there's not much more I could add to what you guys have said. I didn't have an issue with plot or pacing or anything like that, which I guess I could add to Jay's. I liked the way this was paced. I liked the characters. I liked the art. I liked how it felt in my heart. As for my rating, though, I mean, we run through them, right? I mean, why have I not watched this? Why have I not rewatched this show? Right? If it weren't for this review, I wouldn't have rewatched this show. So thank you to our listeners. You made me rewatch this.
Okay.
You better believe I'm going to continue watching it. And I did. I did continue watching it. And you best believe it tickles my jimmies. My jimmies are thoroughly tickled. And you know this is coming. This is a big AniPro certified from Cole. This is a masterpiece. This is a masterclass in shoujo romance. Yeah, it does everything so well.
The show's so nice, you had to watch it twice.
The show's so nice, I had to watch it twice, and then the second season, and then maybe a little bit of the manga, maybe.
Ah, yes.
I read one chapter of the manga.
You're nothing if not consistent, Cole.
Yes.
The obsession strikes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a great show. Yeah. I guess that's the end of the review, which means it's time for me to reveal my nominee for review next time. Which I'm excited to watch both your guys' reviews. They look really good. So I thought what we should do, and again, after reviewing From Me to You, which was also very good, I thought we should review something bad.
Okay.
I thought we should review something so bad it is notoriously bad. It's sitting at a 54. Wow, that's higher than I thought it would be. 54% on AniList. From studios. Oh, it's always good when you got two studios listed. Mille Pense?
Milenci?
Is it Mars of Destruction?
And Gemba.
Two studios you've never heard of. Also,
are we watching Mars of Destruction?
We are not watching Mars of Destruction. We're watching a show. It's based off of a highly celebrated manga, which I am not obsessed with in any way. What are you talking about? Gentlemen, we are diving into one of the worst anime to be produced, and I think we're gonna have a blast reviewing it. We're gonna watch Berserk 2016.
Oh God.
May I read the synopsis for Berserk?
Yes. If you must.
I must. I simply must. Spurred by the flame raging in his heart, the Black Swordsman Guts continues his seemingly endless quest for revenge. Standing in his path are heinous outlaws, delusional evil spirits, and a devout child of God. Even as it chips away at his life, Guts continues to fight his enemies who wield repulsive and inhumane power. With nary but his body and sword, his strength as a human. What lies at the end of his travels? The answer is shrouded in the night. Strain your eyes and stare into the dark.
We're gonna have to strain our eyes.
We're definitely gonna strain our eyes. Yeah. So this will be fun. This will be a good time. Anyway,
will it though?
Yeah. We'll have fun. We'll have fun reviewing this one. I'm actually looking forward to watching a bad show.
Yeah, me too.
Me too. Yeah. So, just to clarify, Cole, what are the 3 shows we are watching, and in what order are we watching them?
Yes. Well, Jay, next time we review a show, we'll be reviewing your show, which was
Shadow's House.
Shadow's House. I was going to say Shadow House, but it's Shadow's House. Then we'll be doing Mike's review, which is a panty and stocking with garter belt.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Okay. And mine will be Berserk 2016. So have fun, everyone. I'm looking forward to.
And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, comment down below which review are you the most excited to hear us talk about, or let us know in our Discord.
Yeah, and we're gonna have a listener's choice after this too, and we're gonna try to have themes for those. So if you have ideas for themes, feel free to send them our way because we are always open to ideas.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and of course, comment down below. What do you think of Kimi ni Todoke?
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking forward to season 3? That's coming out next season. That should be fun. Yeah. So that brings us to the end of this episode, where I say thank you so much for listening to another episode of AniPro. If you liked it, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend about us. It helps the show out. If you really like us, please consider supporting us on Patreon like these lovely people: Mr. Family Guy 36, Elijah Wood, Brain Dead B-Dog, Cole Needs to Watch Haikyuu or Canada is Doomed, Peach, Frama, Kratos, Just Juz, Mogmog, Free Ren's Feet, and Antonio Bustos. By supporting us on Patreon, you get access to all sorts of perks, and it really, really helps out the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're also on social media at AniProPod, and please join our Discord community to keep up with us and other listeners. Links to everything is in our description or at our website, which is AniProPod.com. And you know what? I think I'm going to take us out this time. I think I'm going to have us riding off into the sunset.
I thought you were going to say take us behind the shed.
No. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Wishful thinking by Jay.
Yeah, no, we're gonna go on a nice horse ride. It'll be like the last scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark, riding off into the sunset. We say as we do at the end of every episode of the Anime Protagonist podcast, or AniPro if you want to be informal, and that's what our friends call us. Bye-bye.
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 Bye-bye.